you take it. But man, those are big shoes to fill.
You're wrong approach. Wrong approach. First, we have to be clear that Bill Belichick is going to be back as a coach. He is something like 14, 15 wins away from passing Don Shula, former Dolphins coach, on the all-time wins list. It's clear he wants it. I don't think there's any question that he wants it. Secondly, big shoes to fill my butt. You go and you coach, and it works out or it doesn't, and that's the way it is.
If you are an elite head coach to the point where you are a coordinator in the National Football League or a former head coach, yeah, you want that gig. You have the ego. You're saying to yourself, I can fill those shoes, and I will fill those shoes. But you bring up an interesting point about Belichick. He's not done. And a lot of people are speculating that the team to watch is the Dallas Cowboys. If the Cowboys poop the bed in the playoffs,
they'll replace Mike McCarthy.
Jerry Jones was asked about Mike McCarthy's job status, and he said, well, I'm paraphrasing, let's see how the playoffs go.
No.
You don't think Jerry Jones, if, say, the Dallas Cowboys are the number 2 seed, they are hosting the Green Bay Packers, and by the time most people maybe catch the show, this game will already have been played. If the Packers beat Dallas and they have another big playoff failure, I could totally see Jerry Jones saying, yeah, Mike, it's been real, it's been fun. I'm hiring Bill Belichick. And is Bill Belichick going to turn down Jerry Jones to coach it's the Dallas Cowboys? As much as I love Texas, I'm not a huge Cowboys fan, obviously. It's the premier team in the league as far as legacy goes. They call it America's team for a reason. He'd be all over that, and I'm sure Jerry Jones would probably pay him a pretty nickel to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I don't care. I don't care. Let him coach. Let him coach the Cowboys. Whatever.
Is this because the Colts got knocked out in the worst way possible? Is that what this is?
They didn't get knocked out in the worst way possible. They didn't win. And your backup quarterback couldn't do it down the stretch. You were running like mad. You ran out. Jonathan Taylor at 188 yards. I don't even mind the 4th and 1 play. It's fine by me. Totally fine by me. I don't have an issue with it in the world. It's the second year in 3 that the Colts were win and in the playoffs and didn't win. And that's sad to see. Yeah. And I think fans should be angry. And they should be like, well, it's better than we thought we'd do. You were win and in. You were 4 points away. What are you talking about? What are you okay with? Right? I'd like a little more killer instinct, please. But I don't care where Bill Belichick coaches. I'm just not one of those guys. Record, not record, whatever. I guess I'm not, I don't know why I'm not moved by it. I should be, right?
Are you more moved by the Saban leaving or Belichick?
I'm not moved by that either. I'm not.
You're just ready to move.
Maybe I'm dead inside. Maybe that is it. The Chocolate Volcano Chocolate Dessert Stout from Heavy Seas Beer. That is a nice little bit of stout right there. And this Maduro, the Undercrown Maduro, this Perfecto, 4 1/8 by 60. We're still smoking it. $16 a cigar, I'll do it.
Me too.
Not a box, but a couple for the right moment. For me, that moment's pretty rare, though. Pretty rare, but this has lasted a while, or maybe it'll only last 30 minutes for you. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Stay warm. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Another explosive message. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. The U.S. launching another retaliatory airstrike against Houthi rebels in Yemen, as Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports.
As late yesterday, the U.S. launched another strike in Yemen. The target, a Houthi radar site. It was carried out by the USS Carney using Tomahawk land attack missiles and is considered follow-on action to strikes carried out yesterday. 60 Houthi targets in 28 locations were hit in that. This action was directed by the president. It was signed off by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who remains in the care of Walter Reed Military Hospital, a stay that, of course, was initially kept secret from the president, top defense officials, and Congress.
The Biden administration has sent repeated warnings to the Houthis this week. U.S. Central Command says 2 Navy sailors are missing off the coast of Somalia. The 2 reported missing at sea 2 days ago. They've been conducting operations near the African nation. Search and rescue operations currently ongoing to try and find them. 6 passengers who were on the Alaska Airlines flight that experienced a blowout midair last week have filed a class action lawsuit against Boeing. Fox's Christina Coleman with that.
6 of the passengers and one of their family members are now suing Boeing over the incident, alleging the company CEO referred to the defect that led up to this terrifying event as Boeing's mistake. Authorities are still investigating exactly what caused the door panel to blow out. Now, in their proposed class action lawsuit, the plaintiff's attorneys wrote, the event physically injured some passengers and emotionally traumatized most, if not all, on board. Also, Washington Senator Maria Cantwell has asked the FAA to provide the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee with documentation of its safety audits of Boeing and Spirit Aerosystems from over the last 2 years.
The FAA has temporarily grounded every Boeing 737 MAX 9 with door plugs until it's ensured that each can safely return to operation. America is listening to Fox News.
You know him, you love him from his radio show.
I know. I can't believe they gave me a show either.
Now Jimmy Fallon is coming to Fox News on Saturday night.
Look, I'm not here on behalf of either party. I just want to have a party.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
So grab a frosty mug, pour yourself a beverage, and join me for the all-new Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon.
Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon premieres tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on the Fox News Channel. Saturdays just got a whole lot funnier.
I'm Dana Perino, co-host of The Five and co-anchor of America's Newsroom. Join me for my brand new podcast, Perino on Politics. Every Monday, I'm going to talk to people I trust in politics as they tell me what they're seeing and thinking in the 2024 election cycle. The candidates have campaigned, and now it's time for the voters to decide. This week, campaign consultant Kellyanne Conway joins me to prep us as we head into the Iowa caucuses and beyond. Don't miss this one. Available now wherever you download podcasts.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Investigators trying to locate the crime scene. I'm Wes Woodward, and here's what's trending this hour. A person died early Saturday morning on the east side of Indianapolis with gunshot wounds. IMPD officers were called to Community Hospital East sometime before 1 a.m. on a report of a person shot. Investigators believe the incident happened at a different location but don't know where. The name or age of the person has not been released. A judge in northern Indiana ruled against an ACLU lawsuit Friday. Harrison Silcox reports.
The ACLU of Indiana argues the state's new encroachment law, which went into effect last July, violates the rights of citizen journalists. Donald Nicodemus was accused of violating that law last year, which doesn't allow him to purposely come within 25 feet of a police officer after being ordered not to. The ACLU filed the lawsuit on his behalf, but a judge ruled in favor of that law on Friday. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And it's a race against time as Wayne Township tries to merge with the Indianapolis Fire Department. Ryan Hedrick explains.
A bill in the state Senate would make it more difficult for fire departments to consolidate in Marion County.
And we're trying to get ahead of that. We really want to ensure that all 5 of Wayne Township's fire stations remain open and fully staffed.
Township Communications Director Jeff Harris says the amount of benefits and pensions that Wayne Township has to pay to its first responders make having a local fire department unsustainable, so they're trying to merge with IFD. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. And now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
The wind chill advisory is in place for tonight. Could see wind chills 20 to 25 below zero. Spotty snow showers, cloudy and breezy. Low temperature around the 0 degree mark. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Seminars January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or January 27th, Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Scammers often try to dupe veterans to steal the VA benefits they've earned. Scammers may try to obtain sensitive information or collect payments over the phone, offer to move assets in order to qualify for pension, insist benefits may be sent directly to a friend or caregiver, or promise to manage benefits or file a claim for you. VA will never charge you for processing a claim, and only VA can determine eligibility. To report suspicious activity, visit va.gov/OIG/hotline.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. Hope you're ready for the cold blast of winter that's about to come through. Tomorrow looks to be pretty frigid. Good news is it's a Sunday and there's a lot of football on. So, hey, I'm going to build a big fire, make some hot drinks, and relax. Hopefully, the cold weather just blusters along outside. In the meantime, we're at a very important time. This time of year is a very important time for gun rights in Indiana and in a lot of states, because it's the beginning of the legislative session. And, you know, every year there are bills introduced that would enhance your Second Amendment rights, would protect your Second Amendment rights. And we have a lot of legislators. You know, a lot of times our legislators, they get a hard time, including from conservatives, talking about how, you know, they're just in it for themselves, or they're all paid off, or all the silly things that you hear out there. And listen, I'm not saying there's not corruption in politics, but I'm just saying when you work side by side with these people, and when you go to the committee hearings and you participate in the discussions and you talk to them one-on-one, there are an awful lot of people who are not only dedicated but passionate about protecting your Second Amendment rights, and sometimes to their own political detriment. I mean, we've had senators and representatives both basically get told to back down on constitutional carry. Back in the day, before really there was a sea change in 2022 among particularly Senate leadership, but we had folks basically told, hey, just sit down and be quiet and quit embarrassing leadership on this constitutional carry issue. And there were multiple senators and representatives who just refused, who said, no, this is something that needs to happen in Indiana. And really went after it and really fought hard and had to fight not only their own leadership, but of course the Democrats and the media and many others who were out there calling us all kinds of names because we were trying to get legislation through that would in fact recognize, enhance, and protect Second Amendment rights in Indiana. And listen, we're right at the beginning of the session. And so there have been a whole bunch of bills filed, and I've talked a little bit about this in the last week or two. But I'm going to talk about several of these because, as is the case in most sessions, you've got a number of bills on either side. You've got some out there looking to protect our Second Amendment rights. You've got some out there looking to minimize, if not eradicate them. We'll talk about both. And there's some, I think, we hear a lot about common sense legislation, which always makes me laugh. In fact, we had a caller here a couple of weeks ago proposing a really silly new law to make firearms inaccessible in automobiles. And we kind of went through how silly that was and who would and who wouldn't abide by that new law and who it would really affect and how it would really only be to the detriment of law-abiding gun owners and those people who want to be able to protect themselves, protect their families when they're in their vehicles. And at one point, I said, well, why would you even propose such a thing? Well, it's just common sense. Common sense is the label now that gets affixed to any gun control bill that the people who despise your Second Amendment rights want to have passed. And they just label it common sense and expect you to buy it. But there are some common sense provisions in bills, proposals that have been introduced. And one of them I'm going to talk about here after the first break was introduced by Senator Jim Lucas. And hey, look, Jim's one of those folks who was out there fighting for years and years and years. We had a 10-year fight over constitutional carry. And Jim Lucas, Representative Ben Smalls, Representative Jerry Torr, Representative Peggy Mayfield, and over in the Senate, you had Aaron Freeman. I mean, we had some people really fight hard to get that done. But one bill that Jim has proposed before, and we'll talk about this after the break when he calls in, really is common sense that would enhance gun safety in terms of training and storage. And when you hear people talk about training and storage, that is responsible storage of firearms, you always hear right along with it, well, we need a law. We need to make it a crime for someone to have a gun that's not locked up if there's someone, under 18 under their roof. Let's make criminals of those people. And I've talked about such laws. And there is an iteration of such a law that's been filed this year. It's a little different, though, and I'll talk about that later in the show. And then we said, well, let's have mandatory training. You can't buy a gun unless you've had a certain training course, or you can't get a handgun license until you've had a certain training course, or you shouldn't be eligible to carry under constitutional carry until you've had a certain amount of training. And look, I'm a trainer. I've been a firearms instructor for a long, long time. I've taught thousands and literally tens of thousands of people. Gun safety, responsible gun ownership, responsible gun use, and as part of that, we talk about storage. Do I want to see a law that makes it mandatory that you have to have a certain number of hours of training before you can buy a gun or before you can carry a gun? Look, as emphatic as I am, as passionate as I am about firearm training, I don't think you can be a responsible gun owner without getting some training from some source. Now, that may be your dad, the Marine, or the police officer. It may be at an organized course that you pay money for from a certified instructor like me. And it may be from some other source. You need to get something. You don't just come out of the womb knowing how to safely handle a firearm. And I'm the first one to advocate for that basic fact. So why then would I oppose a law that makes it a requirement for you to for you to receive training before you can buy a gun or carry a gun? Well, very easy. It's because as soon as the government starts controlling what training it is you need to have before you can exercise a constitutional right, what does that allow the government to do? And we saw this. We saw it in Washington, D.C. The courts told Washington, D.C. that didn't have a license to carry that it gave to its citizens. They said, well, you have to have one. And they came out and said, okay, we have one. Guess what? You need to take this training course. And I don't remember the specifics, but it was like a week long, and it was thousands of dollars. I mean, don't hold me to the specifics, but it was outrageously unreasonable and burdensome. And they did it intentionally because they were trying to basically say, we're going to make it next to impossible to meet this requirement so we don't have to issue any licenses to carry. And that's an extreme example, but that's what you're talking about. And you have the basic philosophical issue of should you have to meet a training requirement imposed by the government in order to exercise any constitutional right? I don't have to take a civics class before I can vote. Would we be better off if people had to take a civics class and learn some basic facts about our government and the operation of government and the election process before they go in and vote? We probably would. Would I ever advocate for such a requirement? Of course not. Because it's your right to go vote. And if you have that basic right, then who is the government to start imposing conditions on the exercise of that right? So how do you balance those things? Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. We're going to take a break. In the meantime, you'll hear me talk about this here in just a minute. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the Gun Guy Show. I'm excited about this because I own their products. That's rockinguns.com. Rockinguns.com. It's ROCK, just the letter N, guns, all one word, rockinguns.com. I own now five of their holsters and several of their mag carriers. And these are really top quality products that are made right here in Indiana. And a friend of mine actually owns this company, and I'm excited to have him as a sponsor of the Gun Guy Show. We'll talk more about that here in just a bit. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Now that we're in a new year, the Indiana Hoosiers are in a new Big Ten season. Coach Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers are preparing for big games.
Indiana's gonna win it.
Big hopes. Big Ten. Purdue heads to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. Tuesday, John Herrick with the pregame at 6. Don Fisher with the tip at 7. On your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for rockinguns.com. I'm really excited to have Rockin' Guns as a new sponsor to the Gun Guy Show because I own several of their products. These are American-made holsters, mag carriers, and other gear, not only made in America, but they're made from American parts by Americans. I'm excited about that. It's also a veteran-owned company. I know the owner, Ryan Christopher, personally, and he's an awesome guy and a badass veteran in his own right. But as importantly, these are really quality products. And I just got a new holster. I wanted to carry outside the waistband on some occasions. If I'm wearing a coat or a jacket, sometimes it can be a little bit more comfortable, especially right after the holidays where I'm toting around a couple extra pounds. I want to get an outside the waistband holster. And so I got a Hipster. It was one of the models of holsters. And I love this thing. It's curved so that it fits my waistline very, very well. It's very comfortable, has great retention, also has a perfectly smooth draw. It has adjustable retention and very secure straps and clips that actually hold it to my belt. I love their products. Check them out. You'll like them too. Go to rockinguns.com. And again, American-made products from American-made parts and veteran-owned, very important. Rockin' Guns, ROCK, just the letter N, guns, all one word, rockinguns.com.
Has the holiday season left you overwhelmed, stressed out, and overweight? Do you feel frustrated when you think about what you need to do to be healthy and feel better? You deserve a simple approach to a stronger, healthier, and more enjoyable life. Exercise Inc. has been helping people in Central Indiana reach their health and fitness goals for 20 years. The approach is simple. Strength train with a certified coach once a week for 20 minutes. Adopt the 9 simple habits you need to follow to change your health and lose weight. Then get out there and enjoy life because you'll be stronger and have more energy and you're going to feel better and you'll lose weight and you'll probably even look better too. And you may even be able to get off of some of those prescription medications. Exercise Inc., Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, Zionsville, and now in Fishers. The studios are private, no mirrors, no music, and no spandex. Just you and a professional coach working to reach your goals for the new year. Go to exerciseinc.com today to sign up for a free consultation.
Hey, it's Rob for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer liner. What that means to you is it'll be low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, easy to clean, and last for decades. Plus, it comes with a lifetime warranty. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath. Plus, 36 months of interest-free financing. Yeah, I 100% did not stutter. 36 months of interest-free financing. My friends at the Bath Authority, thebathauthority.com, a better bath awaits.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
We're all different. 1 in 5 of us live with a mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Talk to someone you trust. Learn more at bringchangetomind.org.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Let's go ahead and welcome into the drivehubler.com hotline. We've got Representative Jim Lucas from District 69, down a little bit south of Indy, Seymour and surrounding area. Jim, you and I go way back. We've spent a lot of time working on Second Amendment rights together in Indiana, but welcome back to the Gun Guy Show.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Guy. Thank you. And thank you for all the things that you do for our gun rights here in this state.
It's my pleasure. Hey, listen, you and I think, I won't put any words in your mouth, but since I've known you for so long, I'm pretty comfortable in saying that you and I would agree that training is essential if you're going to be a responsible gun owner and have the ability to effectively use a gun, and responsible storage is critically important as part of responsible gun ownership, something I preach often here on the Gun Guy Show. Yet while we both think those things are very, very important, we both would oppose a law that says, well, we're going to make you a criminal if you carry a gun or buy a gun without training, or if you store your gun so that it's somehow accessible to someone under 18 under your roof, because obviously that doesn't take into account all the different circumstances. Yet you've come up, I think, and this is not the first time you've introduced a similar bill and advocated the same concept, but you've come up with, I think, the right solution to this issue, and that's in your bill that is pending right now.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. You hit the nail on the head there, Guy. With rights come responsibilities. And firearms, once that bullet leaves the chamber, it's not coming back. So you have to make sure that bullet is going down range where you intended it to. You have to know how to handle your firearm, store it, clean it, all around. Just be safe with it. And this bill, it does not mandate. It is not a mandate. And like you said, this is the best. I hate to say solution because there's never a solution. There's always going to be something pop up. But I think this is a great tool in the toolbox to encourage people to go out there and get training, learn how to safely handle and store your firearm, and it gets government out of it.
Well, exactly. And we're talking about House Bill 1144, and it's been introduced. We're hoping to get it a hearing here sooner than later. But describe what House Bill 1144 would do, Jim, in the sense of really providing, and I think is the right way to approach the issue, is providing a carrot rather than a stick.
Sure. It's basically a $300 individual state income tax credit. If you file jointly, it goes up to $600, and that's it. There are no grants. We're not taking money from Peter to give to Paul so Paul can go out and take, lessons or buy a safe or anything like that. This is something that you do upon your own. There are no departments that have to be set up. Everything is already established, and it is as clean as I know how to get out there and encourage people to do the right thing and seek training and safe handling.
Well, exactly. And, I've actually talked to our delegation in Congress about trying to do something similar at the federal level in terms of a credit on your taxes at the end of the year, even as far as the feds are concerned and the IRS. But this gets this done right here in Indiana. And you know what? If this were to pass, that couple out there or that individual out there who's on the borderline, they're on the edge, and they're saying, well, should I go take this class? And by the way, it's not just for training; it's also for storage devices, right? Like gun safes.
Yes.
And so that couple or individual out there saying, should I go do this or should I not? It might cost me a little money. Go take a course, go pay a firearms instructor or spend money at a gun store to buy a safe. Hey, this provides a real financial incentive to go ahead and go down that road.
Sure. And to me, that's how it should be. We shouldn't be establishing programs taking money from people. Let people keep as much of their money as possible. But if there is a way that, and you said this again very well, to use a carrot instead of a stick, by all means, I think this is a great approach.
Well, okay, now it's been referred to Ways and Means, since this has potentially an economic impact on the state in terms of, I guess, some minimal reduction in the number of taxes the state would take in. It's got to go to Ways and Means, right, as a first step?
Correct. And I've reached out to the chairman of that committee, Representative Jeff Thompson, who's a great guy. I mean, he's a limited government 2A person. And Representative Thompson, I mean, he has a lot on his plate, obviously handling the budget of the state. But he has agreed to meet with me to discuss this issue. So, it's not dead. I've offered this several times. I think this is at least the fourth, if not fifth time I've brought this up. And you have to keep plugging away, as you talked about on your show earlier when you started off. Constitutional carry took over 10 years.
Right, exactly. I'll tell you what, man. If I had a nickel for every time I saw on social media or elsewhere somebody saying, "Oh, you guys are naive. Indiana's never going to pass this. That is never going to happen. You guys are just beating your head against the wall." Man, how many years, how many gazillions of times do we see that and again get that feedback? But you know what? It's all about keeping the shoulder to the grindstone and not giving up.
Well, you have to, and that's the thing. I mean, quitters. Anybody could be a quitter on that, but something that important. And sadly, it should not have taken that long. When you read the Constitution, that should never have been an issue. But I know there were a lot of strategies that played out along the way and a lot of countless hours. You yourself, I don't know how many times you came up and testified in committees. And, you fought the good fight, so thank you for that.
Well, no, my pleasure. And you know what? It made a difference, too, and I want to pat got the 2A project on the back here too much. At the same time, it made a big difference because, for years and years and years, you posted a great picture. It brought back a lot of great memories. And it just looking at the picture, it wasn't necessarily a happy picture, but it was a committee hearing, and it looked to me to be public policy. And I think the bill was actually the self-defense immunity bill that you authored, you championed, and introduced in General Assembly. And
you wrote.
Yeah, and I participated in the drafting process. But that, I looked at that. It was 2019. And this picture, and I'll repost this because you put it up on social media and then I shared it. But it's a packed hearing room, and that room that public policy meets in down on the first floor, which I always call the basement of the General Assembly, not a real big room, but it's packed. And and you're sitting up at the table with the committee members. You've been on that committee for a long time. I'm sitting in the front row, and I'm sitting next to Dr. Chris Kopacki, the NRA representative. And I brag on him all the time because he's a rock star. He appropriately got promoted at NRA, so we lost him as our Indiana rep. But he was fabulous and really helped on so many different issues, including that year where we got so much done. And Chris Kopacki from NRA had a huge role in all of that. But it's me and Chris Kopacki sitting in the front row, and then pretty much the entire rest of the room is full of ladies in red T-shirts that say "Mom's Demand" on it, and they're packed. They're like standing room only. They're lined up across the back, and that was the environment we had for years and years and years. At every one of these committee hearings was just a few of us, and the citizens, the voters. I know we outnumber these people dramatically, but we weren't very good for years at showing up, and to be a few of us. And of course, you and Ben Smaltz and so many others that participate in the committees and write the bills and introduce the bills and fight for them in the legislature. But in terms of public input, we were outnumbered for years. And one thing I was proud of as we were fighting for constitutional carry in 2022. Man, the dynamics in those hearing rooms they were different because we had a lot of people in the blue T-shirts that say 2A project on them, showed up, they testified, they sent emails, they made phone calls, and I think it made a hell of a difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to get the people involved, and there's no other way to get something like that passed without getting, supporters out there. And that's one of the most frustrating things on the issues that we stand for, is people, they don't understand, or I don't know what it is, they do not understand how important it is to speak your mind and support those that are out there fighting on the front lines.
It's really true. And there are way too many people out there that I think, and this is true on a lot of different conservative issues, and it's a constant disappointment to me. There are too many people who would much prefer to just sit on their hands, not participate, and then just bitch after the fact. And I jump on people. I'm saying, I'm sorry. You're telling me we're never going to get constitutional carry passed. You're telling me that, leadership's never going to let this happen. Where were you at the last hearing? I know people who were in that hearing room who were on our side. You weren't one of them. Where the hell were you? Yeah. And I never get a response to that. Or, I was busy. You know what? I'm busy too. But now I'll carve it out of my schedule because it's a priority of mine. But I think we're changing that, and that's why I'm really proud of what happened with the 2A project. Let me leave you with this question. Or we'll conclude the conversation anyway. I a little bit get the sense, and look, I'm not in the General Assembly, but I have a little bit of the sense that since we got constitutional carry passed in 2022, I get the sense that the Republican leadership, both the House and the Senate, are kind of patting us on the head a little bit, going, "Hey, you got your wish list, you got your holy grail. Why don't you just kind of calm down and pipe down a little bit?" and look, I'm not asking you to share any, inside the General Assembly conversations, but do you think there's still an opportunity for pro 2A legislation, and that we can still go through and get some things done?
Well, yes, I think so. But to that point, I mean, you have to sit back and look at what all we've accomplished in the last decade and ask what else is left.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
that's a good point because we've checked an awful lot off the list. And, and that's another thing I like to do. I'll do it on social media. And I need to save this because I end up having to recreate it. But somebody will go, oh, Indiana Republicans are great talking 2A, but nothing ever gets done. And I'll go, really? And I'll start naming the bills. And hell, you were the author of a hell of a lot of these, but all the different positive changes we made to the school property bill, the preemption bill goes all the way back to 2011, which was Senator Jim Tom's, the self-defense immunity and the free licenses, church carry, and just on and on and on and on. I can sit there, I can fill up a big long list of all the great things we've done and say, did you miss this? Did you sleep through this? Do you not understand where we really are? And this is because of leadership from people like you and Jerry Torr, who I was really disappointed to see that he's not going to run re-election in the next election because he's been a hero. And a lot of times Jerry can kind of be the adult in the room when some of us, me included, want to get hot and upset and pound the table. Jerry can be the adult in the room and kind of say, okay, let's take a deep breath and let's talk about how we solve these issues. And I just really hate to see him go because he's been a real hero.
I do too. Yeah, Jerry's been a stalwart, and he's been dependable. And like you said, he was a great part of a great team that still has a lot of really good members there. But Jerry will be missed. But I'm just sitting here thinking everything you rattled off. Campus carry.
Yeah,
it's really the elimination of gun-free zones is the one that's the one I'm going to focus on from here on out because everything else is pretty much accomplished already.
Yeah, campus carry, I agree with you. That's a big one. And we're a little past the bottom of the hour and we need to take a break, but that's a big one. And I've got some just heartbreaking stories that arise out of people that have gotten expelled from school because they chose to exercise the option to carry a gun on campus, and it's heartbreaking. But that's one that we ought to really focus on, and I'm sure you and I will be talking about that as well as what you got pending. Again, I think it's 1144. Great bill. I love the carrot it provides rather than a stick. It's the right way to approach the issue, and thanks to you for continuing the fight.
No, it's my pleasure, Guy. Thanks for letting me on.
Absolutely, man. You have a great evening. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Another news update is minutes away.
President Biden says he directed military strikes.
Get the facts.
Targeted Houthi missile, radar, and unmanned drone capabilities.
Not just the talking points.
Republicans in Congress say it's about time the U.S. did this. Some Democrats are critical.
When events happen.
Senator Holcomb says he wants to endorse policies, not necessarily candidates.
We'll happen to be there.
They don't have any facts. They don't have any evidence against us.
On the level. On the go. 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Hey, what's up? It's Hammer here. And after working with Nigel all day, there's nothing I love more than going home and getting lazy in a Lazy Boy from Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. They guarantee the lowest price and free delivery within 75 miles of Columbus and interest-free financing on all Lazy Boy furniture.
Hey, it's Nigel, and for all of January, Thompson's having a Lazy Boy 50% off sale. The only place to buy your Lazy Boy furniture is Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Long live the lazy!
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I'm often asked, how'd you become the largest injury firm in the world? The answer is simple. We cared a lot. Over 30% of our new clients are referred by former clients. That says it all. Our clients have lawyers, case managers, and legal assistants always in the office. Every client has their attorney's cell phone number. Our results in client satisfaction. That's how we became the largest injury firm in the world. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and stop smoking without cravings or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars Thursday, January 25th, Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m., stop smoking seminar at 8. Or Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. The U.S. fired another round of missiles at the Houthi rebels over their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea.
The U.S. launched another strike in Yemen. The target, a Houthi radar site. It was carried out by the USS Carney using Tomahawk land attack missiles and is considered follow-on action to strikes carried out yesterday.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. House Republicans going after elite universities over the harassment of Jewish students. Lawmakers threatening in a letter to revoke the school's tax-exempt status.
A Harvard spokesman telling the student newspaper the university is reviewing the letter and will be in touch with the committee regarding its request. MIT says we maintain our steadfast commitment to protecting students' rights to free expression while ensuring that our campus is safe and free from harassment and discrimination.
That's Fox's Alexis McAdams reporting. America is listening to Fox News.
After such a warm December, the bitter cold is now here. Hi, this is Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner, and I want to urge you to head to your nearest Jiffy Lube so our technicians can make sure that your car or truck is fully prepared to handle these ice-cold temperatures. At Jiffy Lube, you never need an appointment. Just drive in and we'll change your oil, check all your fluid levels, inspect your lights, wiper blades, and belts, properly inflate your tires, and make sure that your car is in the best possible shape to keep you safe this winter. Jiffy Lube is even replacing brake parts and tires now, making Jiffy Lube Indiana's one-stop shop for all your vehicle's maintenance needs. Our computer system has the owner's manual information for every vehicle, and we have scanners that can help you understand and often quickly fix any dashboard warning lights you may see. So drop by your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today, and in just a few minutes you'll get the peace of mind that comes with knowing that your car or truck is ready to handle another Indiana winter.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
There's always time for the drive-thru deal. Because no matter how fast you are at making breakfast, McDonald's is faster.
The buy one, get one for $1 deal is your answer to a quick and easy morning meal. For a limited time, choose from delicious options like a sausage McMuffin with egg, sausage McGriddles, egg McMuffin, or hash browns. So hurry into McDonald's before it's gone. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Valid for product of equal or lesser value.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We've got some people on the phones. We're going to go to the phone lines and join the discussion. 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. Before we do that, though, I want to give a shout out to Hammer and Nigel. They invited me to come over and stop in and actually join the show. This was a remote broadcast of the Hammer and Nigel show, the #1 afternoon drive time show in Indiana. And they were having a fundraiser called Red, White, and Bowl for veterans, to raise money for veterans, sponsored by Jack Daniels. And this was at Woodland Bowls, what I call it. There at on East 96th Street, just east of Keystone, and I stopped by. They had a whole big section of the bowling alley cordoned off just for this event. They did their show live from there, and then they had a bowling event, kind of a bowling competition. There was a bar there. You had a great participation. I left fairly early. But stopped by, did the show. I got to do a couple of segments on there on the Hammer and Nigel show, and it was just a blast. And I understand they raised a whole bunch of money for veterans, which is just awesome. And so that's the kind of thing that those guys do, and that we all try to do here on 93 WIBC, and that I'm just really proud of. So thanks to Jason Hammer and Nigel, or Nigel as we call him, for putting that on and doing a fabulous job. Tell you what, in the meantime, let's go to the phone lines. Frank's been holding for a while. Frank, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hello, Guy. How are you today?
Good, brother. You doing all right?
I'm staying warm. Got the fireplace.
There you go.
going.
That's key these days.
Yes. Anyway, my question is, what is the mindset of these anti-gun people, and other than emotion, on why they're so vehemently opposed to your gun rights and your right to self-defense and the right to be able to confront your government over your, losing your rights.
Yeah. Yeah. And Frank, listen, I could do, and thanks for your question, by the way, and thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. I could do a whole show talking about what I think the motivations really are. Let me briefly answer the question this way. I think it varies, obviously. I mean, you're talking about a wide variety of people. A lot of times, to the extent that this is coming from government officials, that is, whether it's a state level, local, federal, whatever it might be, it's all about control. That's there's a meme out there, and I've seen bumper stickers that say, "Gun control isn't really about guns; it's about control." And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that an armed citizenry is scary to those people. And you know what? It may be subliminal. It may be subconscious. It may not necessarily be something they think about. I think others may certainly think about it. And that is that, as the founders intended it, an armed citizenry allows you to have the ability to stand up to the government and give them a big middle finger to the extent that they want to impose tyranny on the citizenry of this country. And there are those out there who would really like to impose their version of government, which turns out to be tyranny, and an armed populace allows us to stand up to them and say, hell no. And, that's a very broad issue. I think a lot of individuals, a lot of times when I talk to people just on a very individual level, I mean, there are times when I'll be wearing a two-way project hat or shirt or a tactical firearms training, my training company. I'll be wearing, a shirt or hat or whatever, and I'll be sitting around somewhere having a beer or otherwise. And somebody will just pipe up and go, well, I'm anti-gun, just based on looking at me and what I'm wearing. I mean, I wore my coat today that says tactical firearms training with a big logo on the back of it. So, I don't hide where I'm coming from. And a lot of times they'll want to challenge me or whatever. And most times I ignore it, or I kind of blow it off because that's not how I want to spend my evening. But occasionally, I'll go ahead and engage that conversation. And a lot of times what's interesting to me, just on a pure individual level, and this doesn't, I don't think even necessarily has a political origin to it. A lot of times people advocating for gun control are just people that don't own guns and are actually scared of guns. They're scary to them. And since they don't own one and don't want to own one, and they're actually scared of the idea of owning one, they would just assume nobody else owned one either. And that puts everybody else on the same level with them, because, hey, if they can't legally own guns, then it's the government telling them they can't, rather than just their own fear that's providing that decision for them. And I hear that all the time. And a lot of times when people have come out so adamantly, just on an individual level, I've said, "What, have you been shooting?" And sometimes I have friends, acquaintances. One fraternity brother I was talking to way back in the day, and he was talking about how anti-gun he was. I go, "Have you been to the range? Have you shot at guns?" "Well, no, I've never touched a gun. I don't want to. They're scary. They're evil. They're, this, that." "Well, let's go to the range." And so I took him to the range. And it took a while, and I've been teaching people for a long time. I know how to do it slowly and so that they're comfortable. And by the time he walked out of there, he's going, "That's awesome. I want to have a gun for, to defend my home." I mean, he got comfortable with it, and suddenly the idea of owning a gun, or me owning a gun, or anyone else owning a gun, wasn't nearly as scary because he got comfortable with it. And that's true. And those are kind of opposite extremes, because one can be very, very personal. Another one can be, an evil political agenda. There are a whole lot of reasons in between. So I could go on for a long time on that question, Frank. It's a good question. Something we'll get more into, I'm sure, here on the Gun Guy Show. We're a little past the 3/4 hours. Time to take a break. We come back, we'll go back to the phone lines. We'll get back to what's going on in the General Assembly this year, both pro-2A and anti-2A, when we come back. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. You've heard me say often here on the Gun Guy Show that Essentials of Indiana Gun Law, our 4.5 to 5 hour course covering the most important legal information that you need to know as an Indiana gun owner, that's our most popular class at TFT. And we've got one of those scheduled for February 24th at Indy Arms Company on the northeast side of Indy. Just taught one of those at Indy Arms last weekend. Sold out class, a full room. They were really enthusiastic. They participated, asked great questions, and it was just a lot of fun. We've got another one of those scheduled for February 24th. It's 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we'd love to have you there. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. And in addition, just today I added to the website, I've been working with the good people at Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range. I've taught this class a couple of times out at Parabellum, also had great crowds that also sold out. We've just scheduled a course in Avon at Parabellum on Saturday, March 23rd. That's February, March 23rd. I just saw a typo on the website. It says Saturday, February, March 23rd. No, it's March 23rd, so I need to do a little editing there. I'll do that as soon as I get home. I just did that on the way down here and thought I had that done well. I'll fix that. But it's Saturday, March 23rd at Parabellum. We'd love to have you there. Again, $50 for an individual, $95 for couples, for 4.5 to 5 hours of the most important legal information you can receive if you own a gun in Indiana. Go to tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses. You can register right online at tactical-firearms.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special, only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Seminars 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com. AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and $45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay, Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant. Because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
The Christmas holiday is done. You got some great gifts, and you might find that you've got some old jewelry you're not going to be needing anymore with all that new jewelry you got. Take that old jewelry to PA Jewelers. Check out the buy room and find out how much you can get for that vintage jewelry and those gemstones. Talk to PA Jewelers today. They're more than a kiss. Inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030. 317-858-3030. Online at premierarms.com.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC. Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'll tell you what, we don't have time for a long segment, but Buzz has been holding for a while. Buzz, welcome back to the Gun Guy Show, man. What you got for us?
Good afternoon, Guy. How
too,
you
sir.
doing? Okay, I heard Tony Katz say something about Washington State was going to put a privilege tax on ammunition.
Yeah, right. California
Yes,
has done or is doing something similar.
Well, this is the year the Supreme Court needs to state what shall not be infringed means to put a stop to this asinine stuff that these people are coming up with.
Yeah, and Buzz, really, the Supreme Court has. I mean, you go back to the Heller case from 2008. It lays it out pretty good. And listen, that doesn't mean that the states and even local governments, like we've seen right here in Indianapolis, for instance, won't continue to defy what the Supreme Court says and look for ways to skirt around it. They simply do. But what we're talking about is putting such an exorbitant tax on ammunition that nobody can afford ammunition, or at least people won't buy as much as they otherwise would. So what does that really do? Is that going to prevent you from buying enough rounds to load your gun to carry if you're a criminal? Of course not. What's going to do is it's going to impair the ability to train and be responsible and to learn your firearm and learn marksmanship and safe gun handling. And it's not going to have any effect at all on criminals. But that's just what we see over and over again. And it's a way to say, well, if we can't pass directly the kind of gun control we want to pass, and listen, Washington's passed all kinds of gun control, and a lot of it, if not all of it's being challenged in court. There's just another way around that, and they're trying to defy the Second Amendment in any way they can. And that's what we'll continue to see. And we'll have to continue to fight it. Right now, we're at the top of the hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's Rob for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer liner. What that means to you is it'll be low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, easy to clean, and last for decades. Plus, it comes with a lifetime warranty. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath. Plus, 36 months of interest-free financing. Yeah, I 100% did not stutter. 36 months of interest-free financing. My friends at the Bath Authority, thebathauthority.com, a better bath awaits.
Carrie Stacy for Cardwell Do It Best Home Center, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side. Your discount roofing headquarters. Stop in for wholesale and factory direct pricing on the roofing shingles and supplies you need at the price you love. They offer dimensional and 3-tab shingles at low, low prices. Cardwell also carries a full line of best look quality paints produced by Sherwin-Williams, America's largest paint manufacturer, with paint and primer all in one. Cardwell also carries a full line of Hillman fasteners, and for winter, snow shovels, rock salt, and ice melter all in stock. At Cardwell Do It Best, you'll also find a full line of lawn and garden supplies, plumbing, electrical, with lumber and building materials too. Cardwell Home Center. Shop online at cardwellhomecenter.com with over 67,000 products available and free shipping to the store. Cardwell Do It Best, 3205 Madison Avenue, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side, serving the greater Indianapolis community since 1945.
Take charge of the years ahead with a smart, sound investment strategy and business succession plan. Busey Bank's business and wealth management experts help you envision your best future with powerful insights and proven strategies. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
For a job done right the first time and every time, remember Chapman Heating. For all your plumbing, air conditioning, heating, and now drain needs, remember the man for all seasons, chapmanheating.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Another missile strike in Yemen. I'm Roger Stern, Fox News. Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu says his country will continue its fight against Hamas and won't be stopped by anyone, not even the International Court of Justice. Fox's Jill Nader with that.
The International Court of Justice at The Hague held 2 days of hearings this past week about South Africa's allegations that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. South Africa has asked the court to order Israel to stop its attacks, but Prime Minister Netanyahu said in a televised speech Israel is going for nothing less than victory over Hamas, and nothing will stop his country. And he made it clear that Israel will ignore any orders from The Hague. The Israelis have been saying that ending the war would mean a win for Hamas, which has been calling for Israel's destruction for years. Jill Nader, Fox News.
Another strike carried out by U.S. forces against Houthi rebels in Yemen in retaliation for their attacks on cargo ships in the Red Sea. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson.
This is the third country where President Biden has authorized airstrikes against Iran's proxy forces in recent weeks. The president spoke about the strikes yesterday in Pennsylvania.
I've already delivered the message to Iran. They know not to do anything.
Houthis, that the attacks will stop. Will you continue with the strikes, sir?
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis as they continue this outrageous behavior, along with our allies.
Now, while some Democrats blasted the effort, many Republicans are rushing to the president's defense. The U.S. forces carrying out another strike earlier this morning in Yemen. The guided missile destroyer USS Carney fired Tomahawk cruise missiles at a Houthi radar site to cripple their effort to fire missiles and drones at commercial shipping in the Red Sea.
UK also threatening more strikes. America is listening to Fox News.
Jason in the House, the Jason Chaffetz podcast. There is always someone doing something stupid somewhere. Dive deeper than the headlines and the party lines as I take on American life, politics, and entertainment. Join me, Jason Chaffetz, every Wednesday as I shed light on the news and make some predictions along the way. You never know who will drop in. Subscribe now on FoxNewsPodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Much of the North.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A merger is possible. I'm Wes Woodward, and here's what's trending this hour. Wayne Township is considering merging its fire and EMS services with the city of Indianapolis. The township says it will not be able to support a standalone fire department by next year.
We started that discussion. That discussion will continue later this month. On January 25th, there will be another meeting to talk about the EMS merger, and on February 22nd, there will be a public hearing to discuss the fire side of the merger.
Township Communications Director Jeff Harris says pensions, benefits, and salaries exceed the tax revenue the town generates. The legal team for Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen wants him moved out of his current prison.
It's deja vu. I'm Donnie Burgess. Allen's legal team claim he's being abused by Wabash Valley prison staff, similar to his conditions at Westville. They go so far as to say Allen is being chained up like Hannibal Lecter. There's also more accusations of Odinism being used to taunt Allen. They want him moved to either Adams or Allen County. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Students who need special education services are most at risk for being unfairly isolated, says State Representative Becky Cash of Zionsville. John Herrick reports on a bill she's written.
The bill calls for better transparency by requiring all Indiana schools to have equipment that would be recording activity that happens in special education classrooms, seclusion areas, and others by January of next year. If the bill is made law, it would also require each school to have a behavioral interventionist there that would primarily work with kids who have autism. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. And now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
The wind chill advisory is in place for tonight. Could see wind chills 20 to 25 below zero. Spotty snow showers, cloudy and breezy. Low temperature around the 0 degree mark. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
We may be thousands of miles apart, but we can still connect. And when we do, we make things better. At Child Fund, we connect children all around the world with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Together, we co-create connections that help millions of children who live in poverty worldwide, and their families, and their communities, and you. Join us. Together, we can make the world a better place. 2 small worlds at a time. Visit childfund.org to learn more.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. Going to continue to talk about what's going on in the Indiana General Assembly. And listen, we often talk about the anti-2A bills that get introduced every year. And there's one I want to talk about here a little bit later in the show, which surprisingly, and I think disappointingly, was introduced by a Republican. And it could be, and listen, I dropped the ball on this a little bit. I had a couple of legislators reach out to me and right before the holidays and try to get my opinion on this. And I was getting ready for trial, and I wasn't able to respond. And I feel badly about that because I would have liked to have headed this off before it was ever filed. But I'll talk more about that. But before we get on to the negative side of things, I want to talk more about some really important and positive bills that we have pending. And one of the leading examples of that is Senate Bill 28, introduced by Senator Jim Toms. And I've talked about Jim Toms often. He was the author of the Preemption Act, which prohibits local governments from regulating firearms. It's hugely important. People don't understand the real positive impact this has had on the state and on Second Amendment rights in Indiana, because if local governments, if the city of Indianapolis could do whatever it wanted to do, just as Joe Hogsett wants to do, and they're trying to do, what stands in their way? The Indiana Firearms Preemption Act. Well, that was Senator Jim Toms, with a lot of support from a lot of other folks. And on the bill with him is Senator Gary Byrne and Senator Aaron Freeman. Aaron Freeman chairs the Courts and Criminal Code Committee and was a real hero for us on constitutional carry in the Senate in 2022. And he's been so strong on Second Amendment rights for a long, long time. So I'm not surprised at who we see on this bill. But what Senate Bill 28 would do, this is another bill kind of in a series of bills that have been introduced. And we can't get these a hearing in the Senate where they've been introduced. And keep going to the insurance or banking and financial institution, insurance and financial institution committee. I think I got that right. And listen, the banking lobby has a whole lot of pull in the General Assembly, and we've had trouble, even though they've been introduced by some really solid pro 2A legislators. We've had trouble getting them hearings or getting them out of committee. And what we talked about, it's why is it in the Financial Institutions Committee? Well, it's because it deals with financial issues. And here's the issue. Some time ago, this goes back several years, the anti-gun groups came out with what got labeled Operation Chokehold, or Choke Point, I think was a more accurate term. Operation Choke Point. And what does that mean? It means that when they can't get done what they want to get done in the legislature on anti-gun legislation or gun control legislation, that they can then go to financial institutions and use an attack on the finances of those involved in the firearm industry to essentially put them out of business, or so restrict their business it's not worth being in anymore. And for instance, you had the state of New York go to insurance companies and say you ought to cancel insurance for any business that involves the firearm industry or involves firearms, period. They've gone to banks. There's more to talk about on this. Get to here later in the show. They've gone to banks and say, you got to just close the accounts and refuse to do business with people involved in the firearm industry. And listen, if you hear that, if you're rolling your eyes going, oh, yeah, right, banks are as greedy as anybody else, they're not going to deny anyone's business just for some political reason. Oh, let me tell you, I need to have another one of these. In fact, I'm going to try to organize this in the next week or two. I had what I call the Gun Shop Roundtable, and this was during COVID. And I had 5 gun shop owners right here in the studio. They all had a live mic, and we just had a roundtable. And I was talking a lot about what they saw during COVID, what the problems they had with supply, both of guns and ammunition. Ammunition got real hard to find. And then when you could find some, the prices got outrageous because the suppliers had such limited supply, they were cranking the cost, and wholesalers were cranking the cost. And so people were mad at their gun shops because the price of ammunition was so high. Well, it was because they were having to pay outrageous prices to get it into the store to begin with. Unless they're willing to sell it at a loss, then they had to raise their prices as well. So anyway, we were talking about all those issues. How you doing on finding guns? And they were talking about all the creative ways. I mean, they were up on some of the websites, up at 2 and 3 in the morning. They'd set their alarm to look for, a new pallet of ammo that came available from a wholesaler and try to jump on it before anybody else did. And they all told very similar stories. And it was a fun show because these guys hadn't all necessarily been talking to each other. And it was fascinating to see how similar their experiences were and how similar their approaches were. These are all good people. I mean, they're all strong believers in the Second Amendment. They're all gun people. They carry daily, and they care about Second Amendment rights, and to the point where they decided to make it a business. And we were discussing all the challenges of COVID and otherwise. But then at one point, and this didn't have anything to do with COVID, I just asked the question. And I don't know, it just kind of popped into my head because I had been talking to someone here recently about it was an instructor, a good friend of mine, person I've co-taught with, and I've known for a long time. A law enforcement officer, longtime instructor. His certifications are, his resume looks like a phone book from all the different professional certifications this guy has. And he's got a letter in the mail one day just from his bank just saying, we've closed your account. Here's a certified check for the balance. His checking and his savings. And his business checking. And just said, we don't want to do business with you anymore. And he was shocked. He was calling him going, what's going on? He's thinking the IRS is after him, or, there's some identity theft going on where somebody else has done something with his credit. And he pushed it, and eventually he got kind of a cryptic answer, but the cryptic answer was his bank didn't want to do business with him anymore simply because he was a firearms instructor. And I've had credit card processing companies refuse to do business with me for selling my book. By the way, the inventory is sold out, and I haven't yet talked the publisher into printing more. So Gun Safety and Cleaning for Dummies has been around for a long time, since 2012. Those may be, I'm not so arrogant as to call them collector's items, but it looks like they're not going to be able to be any more of them. And I've just got a handful I'm keeping a hold of just for personal reasons and nostalgia. But at any rate, credit card processors who didn't want to process credit card payments for people buying a book entitled Gun Safety and Cleaning for Dummies. It's a book about gun safety. It's how to teach people how to be safe and responsible with guns. Oh no, we don't want to do business. We want that supports mass shootings. What? That supports gun violence. What the hell are you talking about? People who come and pick up and read this book and be responsible, law-abiding gun owners are going to be people like Eli Dickin, who stopped a mass shooting in the Greenwood Park Mall on July 17th, 2022. That's the kind of person that I'm selling my book to, not the thug or the criminal who could care less about safe gun handling. What the hell are you talking about? But this was pervasive. And when I asked that gun shop roundtable, all 5 of them sitting right here in the studio, I said, by the way, have you guys had any banks or credit card companies refuse to do business with you because you run a gun shop? And every single one of them, hand shot in the air. Every single one of them. Oh, hell yeah. Happened to me. I mean, this is pervasive. And more gun shops are facing the challenge of having to go seek out a bank that was willing to do business with them just because they're a bank they're a gun shop. And it goes on from there, and I'll get more into this after the break. We're going to take a break and get more into this and talk about a bill, and we'll talk about some of the other iterations of similar bills that have been introduced in the past we haven't been able to get through committee and get a vote. And talk about Senate Bill 28. You want to look it up. Go to the Indiana General Assembly website and you can search for bills, legislation, Senate Bill 28. You'll see it. We'll talk about what this means and what it's trying to accomplish. And it's broader than just the gun industry. And it has more benefits for Hoosiers than just those who care about Second Amendment rights. We'll get into all of that when we come back. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Do you feel?
feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's going to be more like summertime.
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for rockandguns.com. That's ROCK, just the letter N, guns, rockandguns.com, all one word. These are manufacturers and sellers of quality gear, holsters, mag carriers, other accessories. And I'll tell you what, I own several of these, and I'm proud to carry my firearms in one of these and mags as well. They're a really high quality product made in America by Americans from American parts, and the company is veteran owned. So I'm proud to do business with them, and I'm proud to carry their products. I own several of their holsters, one a Soloist, which is the inside the waistband holster that I got with the Ulti Clip. If you don't know about the Ulti Clip, it is the only way to carry, I think, an inside the waistband holster that securely anchors that holster to your belt. It's not going anywhere, either while you're carrying it or, critically important, while you're drawing the firearm. And then I just got a Hipster, just received it a couple of days ago. This is an outside the waistband holster that I want to use when I'm wearing a jacket or a suit coat. Hugs the gun really tightly to my body. It's curved, so it fits around my waistline, which I love. So much more comfortable and concealable than so many other holsters that I've used over the years. Check them out. These are my friends, and I'm proud to endorse their products. They're at rockandguns.com. That's ROCKNGUNS. All one word, rockandguns.com.
If you're facing $10,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, there are programs available that can consolidate those debts into one single reduced payment you can afford if you qualify. Accredited Debt Relief is on a mission to help you become debt-free in just 24 to 48 months. They've helped over 300,000 qualified consumers. Hardworking Americans just like you pay off more than $3 billion in debt, earning them an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Accredited Debt Relief will tailor the program to fit your specific budget and financial situation. So call Accredited Debt Relief now for your free no-obligation savings estimate and let them help you take control of your financial destiny.
Call 800-530-3939. 800-530-3939. That's 800-530-3939. 800-530-3939. Program and services not available in all states.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes, but I am not a criminal.
I work for youth advocate programs. Yeah, I was Tamani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration and neighborhood violence. Youth advocate programs. Learn how at yapinc.org. LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
My
plumbing problems arise, you need them fixed fast and right. The LD Smith Plumbing crew knows how to put water in its place. We do it all, from the kitchen sink to delicate repairs in historic homes, and we'll always give you honest advice at a fair price. So if you're worried about the cost of plumbing repairs, call today for a free second opinion on a competitor's estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Indy Humane, committed to helping Central Indiana's pets in need since 1905. Find your new best friend today. IndyHumane.org.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Talking about a very pro-2A bill that's pending right now. And listen, I understand this may very likely get a hearing this Wednesday I believe it's Insurance and Financial Institutions Committee. And listen, check my social media here this week, including Monday, because we should see an agenda then. But if this gets a hearing, we really need support. We need our 2A project members to show up, people there supporting this bill, because we've had trouble getting the bill or similar bills out of committee in the past. And listen, we've had bills before. We had a bill a couple of years ago that actually got scheduled for a hearing, went in, I testified for it. We had the banking lobbyist testifying against it, and several people testified in support. That was a bill that just simply said if financial institutions, banks, and credit cards discriminate against gun owners or people involved in the gun industry, then the state of Indiana won't do business with them. And I love the bill because it wasn't Big Brother telling them how to do business. It wasn't saying, we're going to make this a crime or we're going to have some huge fine. It was just, no, do what you want to do. You discriminate against anybody you want to discriminate against in terms of these issues. But if you do, the state of Indiana won't do business with you. So you got a credit card company, people won't be able to use your credit card to pay for their plates when they renew their registration, or pay for their driver's license, or whatever else it might be in terms of the financial transactions conducted by the state. And I'm sure the state has any number of different bank accounts, whether it's all the different agencies, DNI, and all, on and on and on. Okay, discriminating against anybody you want to, well, guess what? You have that right to do that. We have the right to do business with whom we choose, and the state of Indiana won't do business with you. I love that. Made all the sense in the world. It's been passed in a couple of other states. We had a hearing, and the chairman at the time said, I believe it was Andy Zay, said, well, we run out of time. We don't have time to vote on this. So, we'll consider this and we'll vote next meeting of the committee. Guess what? They never called it for a vote. We had a hearing, people testified, and it just died. Well, a similar bill, at least it has overlap, is Senate Bill 28, and I've mentioned it before. What this does, it's broader than just protecting people involved in the firearms industry. It actually prevents financial institutions from making financial decisions, including credit decisions, based on what they're calling here a social credit score. And if you haven't heard that term, it's something that liberals are really starting to push. And that is that there are things that financial institutions, they think, ought to take into account before doing business with you or giving you a loan or handling your financial transactions. That includes something like if your company has a diversity, equity, and inclusion program, whether your company uses affirmative action as part of its hiring processes. They'll look at whether your company is involved with the fossil fuels in some way. And if so, then that affects your so-called social credit score. Then obviously, if you're involved in the firearm industry, that's another thing that impacts that as well. And so based on all these things that have nothing to do with how creditworthy you are, how solvent you are, how capable you are of paying back a loan, or being a responsible business that they should want to handle the financial transactions for, that they'll still refuse to do business with you based on your social credit score. And this bill, Senate Bill 28, would prevent that. And it includes not just discrimination based on involvement in the firearm industry, but a social credit score based on these other factors as well. And how much sense does that make? And it says, look, it says right in the bill, you can make financial decisions based on anything actually associated with risk, that is, risk of making a loan, and the financial strength and status of any particular organization. And the fact that someone is involved in the firearm industry, for example, when you apply the language of this bill, if they also don't have a history of responsibly repaying their loans, then yeah, a company would say, no, I don't choose to do business with you, and they won't be penalized for that because they're basing it on a legitimate financial criterion. But to the extent that a company is as creditworthy as the next, but they don't have a diversity, equity, and inclusion program, they don't use affirmative action, and or they're involved in the firearm industry or the fossil fuels industry, and financial institutions are then going to refuse to do business with them, oh, hell no. And that's exactly what this bill provides, and I like that. I like that a lot. And listen, keep in mind, I may very likely know more by the time the Hammer and Nigel show airs tomorrow. We're doing a late Monday Gun Day. We usually do it at 3:35. We're doing it at 4:35 because of some other scheduling issues the guys had for the show. I'm happy to do that. So tune in at 4:35 on Hammer and Nigel for Monday Gun Day, and I may likely know specifics about scheduled committee hearing on Senate Bill 28, but we really will need your support on that and want to have you come out. Another pro two-way bill, and this is huge, and this relates to something, there have been several bills passed on this, is a bill that would finally, hopefully, put an end to the frivolous litigation going on in northwestern Indiana, where the city of Gary has sued basically every member of the firearm industry. Obviously not every, but most major manufacturers of handguns, for instance, are getting sued in Gary, saying, well, it's your fault that we've had all this gun violence in Gary. It's not liberal policies. It's not failing to enforce existing law. It's the gun industry's fault that we have gang members killing each other in Gary. And there been a number of legal hurdles put up in the way of such lawsuits, including at the federal level and including right here in Indiana. Well, House Bill 1235, that we're hoping passes this year, authored by Representative Chris Jeter, it takes another stab at trying to end that litigation and prevent similar frivolous litigation here in Indiana. We'll talk more about that also when we come back. Right now we're at the bottom of the hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The National Toy Hall of Fame has announced its new class. Baseball cards, Cabbage Patch Kids, Fisher-Price Corn Popper, that little thing you push, and Nerf.
Yeah. Nerf?
Nerf made it in.
I think I'm good with the list. Literally, I think a stick is in the National Toy Hall of Fame.
It is.
Who didn't make it?
Slime. It's a staple of Nickelodeon.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
After such a warm December, the bitter cold is now here. Hi, this is Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner, and I want to urge you to head to your nearest Jiffy Lube so our technicians can make sure that your car or truck is fully prepared to handle these ice-cold temperatures. At Jiffy Lube, you never need an appointment. Just drive in and we'll change your oil, check all your fluid levels, inspect your lights, wiper blades, and belts, properly inflate your tires, and make sure that your car is in the best possible shape to keep you safe this winter. Jiffy Lube is even replacing brake parts and tires now, making Jiffy Lube Indiana's one-stop shop for all your vehicle's maintenance needs. Our computer system has the owner's manual information for every vehicle, and we have scanners that can help you understand and often quickly fix any dashboard warning lights you may see. So drop by your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today, and in just a few minutes you'll get the peace of mind that comes with knowing that your car or truck is ready to handle another Indiana winter.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WHEEL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WHEEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WHEEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Fox News, I'm Jack Callahan. Bitterly cold weather is gripping much of the U.S. for the first long holiday weekend of the year. It could be even longer for travelers.
The airports, a total mess. Flight cancellations, over 1,000 just in Chicago alone. Power outages all over the Great Lakes regions. Hundreds of thousands of people out of power.
Robert Gray of Fox Weather. Parts of 17 states are under a wind chill advisory. Nationwide, nearly 1,300 flights have been canceled, more than 5,000 delayed. Congressional sources tell Fox News that congressional negotiators have reached agreement on a stopgap measure to prevent a government shutdown next Friday night. The continuing spending resolution would still require approval from both houses of Congress and the president's signature. The reported agreement would seem to break House Speaker Johnson's pledge not to do another interim spending bill. America is listening to Fox News.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and 45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Today's kids and teenagers are facing more challenges than generations before. Culture is questioning basic, unchanging truths. Many parents are looking for direction to lead their kids and teenagers onto right paths. I'm Tina Pavey, Director of Next Gen Ministries at Life Church. We believe parents have what it takes to lead their kids and teenagers on a path that leads to life. And each Life Church campus is eager to partner with parents. For more information, visit one of the Life Church campuses or go to lifechurchin.com. Parents, you can do this. We will help you.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, and my friends at Hope Plumbing are hoping your 2024 is off to a great start. It's a new year, new you, and perhaps a new water heater. Water heaters are often tucked away and overlooked until your water runs cold and it's too late. During the month of January, Hope Plumbing is offering a free estimate for a water heater replacement so your new year is free of cold showers. Call Hope Plumbing at 317-641-HOPE or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So we're talking about a bill that would hopefully put an end to this lawsuit in Gary. And what's that lawsuit all about? Well, it's blaming gun manufacturers for the fact that there's gun violence in Gary. And listen, there are a couple of statutes in place designed to prevent exactly this kind of a lawsuit. You have the Federal Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, and then you have a parallel state statute. And what they both say, they're a little different, but what they both say essentially is that if a firearm manufacturer lawfully manufactures and sells a gun, or a firearm retailer lawfully sells a gun, and that gun then is later used in a crime, the manufacturer or retailer can't be sued for that. And you may listen to that and be looking at your radio funny, or your computer, phone, depending on how you listen to the Gun Guy Show, thinking, well, that's idiotic. Why would we need such a law? Who's going to file such a lawsuit? Well, City of Gary and several others, several private individuals, by the way. Some of the survivors were next of kin of the Sandy Hook shooting, mass shooting, sued Remington, saying, well, it's your fault for selling the AR-15 that was used to kill many of the people in Sandy Hook Elementary. And you're thinking, how is it the manufacturer's fault? Well, they come up with a theory. It's how you market it. You induced people to buy this particular kind of firearm, knowing the high likelihood it's going to be used in a mass shooting. And whenever I talk about this, a lot of times I've had comments on social media, or somebody will call in and they'll go, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Guy. I mean, if somebody takes a Ford pickup and goes and drives through a crowd of people and kills 20 people with a Ford pickup, nobody sues Ford. Well, that's right. But people sue the gun industry. Because, again, it's another way, I think, around the fact that a lot of anti-gun organizations, like the Brady campaign or the Bloomberg organizations like Moms Demand Action, they can't get things done in Congress or in state legislatures. So they want to get them done in the courtroom. Well, let's sue the gun industry into oblivion. Let's take a page out of the book of the attacks on the tobacco industry and look at the billions and billions of dollars. Now, big tobacco was too big to be forced out of business by the billions of dollars in liability imposed against the tobacco industry. And I don't know that there are any analogies in terms of the gun industry hiding the latent dangers and defects associated with their product. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about defective products or a gun doing anything other than what a gun's designed to do, as opposed to the tobacco industry back in the day. The allegation was, and there was a lot of evidence behind this that really hid a lot of what was known about the health effects of smoking, including the likelihood it causes cancer. But to look at the tobacco example, a lot of folks said, hey, let's use that. Let's use litigation against the gun industry. That's why Congress passed the Law Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. It says, hey, if they manufacture and sell a gun legally, this is not covered by what you've heard Biden and other liberal politicians come out and say, oh, the gun industry is the only industry that has complete immunity from liability. No, they don't have complete immunity. If a manufacturer of a gun sells a defective gun, and there have been recalls on some guns because, yes, they had a defect. And in fact, Taurus, the most recent example of this, has a gun that if you drop it in a certain way, the gun will go off because of a defect in the gun. This act has no bearing on that. And it says right in the act, doesn't foreclose lawsuits over defective products or breach of warranties or anything along those lines. It's if they lawfully sell a product that functions as it's intended to function, and it's then used in a criminal act, it cuts off liability in that context. And that's exactly what it should do. But because of the timing of the passage of some of these laws, because the Gary lawsuit was passed, I want to say 23 years ago, it's got to be a record for the longest pending litigation in the history of the state of Indiana. I'd be shocked if there was another lawsuit out there It's been pending over 2 decades. And Indiana tried to amend their immunity statute to get that thing dismissed. Because, listen, I've talked to people at the NSSF, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, who really are the organization for the gun industry, gun manufacturers and sellers included. And they've said, listen, we have members that would like to come do business in Indiana, but as long as the Gary lawsuit's pending, and that's an example of how you can get sued, and the law doesn't protect you in Indiana, no, sorry, we're not willing to bring our industry, bring those jobs, bring those tax dollars to the state of Indiana. It hurts Indiana financially. So what does this bill do? What House Bill 1235 is the number. It says that any lawsuit against a firearm manufacturer, seller, or dealer can only be maintained by the state of Indiana and not by what we call a political subdivision. That's the same term used in the preemption statute. It means local government. You have the state of Indiana, and then you have the state of Indiana subdivided into a whole bunch of other political units like counties and cities and towns and townships and housing authorities and airport authorities and all these other local units of government. Those are what we call political subdivisions. It just means local government. And this bill says that only such an action against a firearm or ammunition manufacturer or trade association or seller or dealer can only be maintained by the state. So if the state of Indiana decides to file such a lawsuit, and they would still have to get around the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act and get around the Indiana corollary of the same act. And it says only the state can file or maintain. Maintain's a key word here. Because that would mean the city of Gary could not maintain its action, the idea being that lawsuit would finally be dismissed. Again, this has important political ramifications, but it has, more importantly, I think, important financial ramifications for the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana should get this passed because it hurts the state of Indiana to have the Gary lawsuit pending. It hurts us in terms of industry, an industry we could be bringing. And there have been a lot of firearm manufacturers pack up and move the states where they're in. There are multiple companies have left New York, for instance. It's too hostile an environment. Well, where they ended up? Not Indiana. And that's partially because of this Gary lawsuit. And that's not okay. We need to fix that. So I'll have more to say about this when this gets a hearing. I'll be announcing that as well. And we'd love to have your support. I'll give you the phone numbers and the contact for exactly who would best be the appropriate contacts to make sure our elected representatives, and by the way, your representative and your senator, this is pending now in the House, so your representative would be the place to start. Call your representative in the Indiana General Assembly and say, hey, House Bill 1235 is something you ought to get behind and encourage a hearing and encourage its passage. And you might be wondering, by the way, how Remington got sued in the Sandy Hook context. Well, the immunity is based on lawfully selling or marketing a firearm. Because obviously you break some law, you shouldn't have immunity for that if liability results. And Connecticut, where that lawsuit was brought, because that's where Sandy Hook, Connecticut is, has a deceptive advertising statute. So when the lawsuit against Remington, the plaintiff said, well, in how you marketed your AR-15, you violated the deceptive marketing statute. At least that was the allegation. And since you violated deceptive advertising laws, your sale wasn't legal, therefore you don't have the immunity. And this went all the way up to the Connecticut Supreme Court, who agreed there was no immunity. So Remington's insurers, Remington had since essentially been sold off for parts, and you're just dealing with an insurance company who's worried about what it could potentially get hit for. And the insurance company looked at that and said, okay, now we're looking at a jury trial where we're defending a firearm manufacturer against survivors of a mass shooting in Sandy Hook Elementary. And could they really prove that the reason that shooting occurred and the reason those injuries were sustained by the victims in Sandy Hook was because of the way Remington marketed its firearm? I mean, who's to say that anybody that shooter, and I don't name shooters on the Gun Guy show, but that shooter or his mother who actually purchased the rifle, because he killed his mother and took the rifle, anybody ever saw an advertisement from Remington? Or that's what induced the purchase of the gun, or that's what induced the shooting. You have to prove cause. That's a requirement in any lawsuit. That the conduct you're complaining of caused your injury. How in the hell would they ever prove that? The insurer ended up deciding it didn't much matter because a jury was going to find a way to give millions, if not hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, who knows, to these victims. The insurance company ended up doling out a whole bunch of money. The number doesn't immediately come to mind. I want to say $23 million, but don't hold me to that because that's just a number off the top of my head. But it was a bunch of money, notwithstanding the fact there should have been immunity. Well, House Bill 1235 would fix that in Indiana to say if there's such a lawsuit to be had involving the illegal sale of a firearm, for instance, local governments can't bring it. Only the state of Indiana could. And that would be a whole hell of a lot different decision-making process than leaving it up to the city officials in Gary, Indiana. So it's an important bill. We'll talk more about it as it works its way through the General Assembly. Right now, we're a little past the three-quarter hour. We're taking a break. We'll be back for the last segment of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
When I was a boy, I used to have an affinity for professional wrestling. I was always a fan of the bad guy managers, and I used to tell my dad, I said, someday I will make them love to hate me. And I feel like at 39 years old, as I near my 40th birthday, I have achieved my life's ambition as I have made them love to hate me.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. As I often say, our most popular class is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class, which is 4.5 to 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. We've got a couple of those scheduled. I just added one to the schedule today, one Saturday, February 24th at Indy Arms, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. Again, the most important legal information that you need. We've also scheduled one in Avon. You know, we've been out to Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range, great place to shoot, just as Indy Arms is. Out in Avon, we've had a couple of sold-out classes out there as well, and so we've scheduled another one. That's March 23rd. We'd love to see you there as well. Again, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This one's at Parabellum. The same cost, $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. You can schedule right online at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WHEEL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WHEEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WHEEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
A house isn't a home without a little wear and tear, spilled milk, or muddy paws. But But don't just clean it, quick shine it. Hey, Pat Sullivan here for Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners with some Floor Care 101 tips. First, no matter the surface type, be sure to remove dust and debris. Avoid heavy chemicals or all-purpose liquids as they can damage the sealant layer or leave an oily residue. Now, to best clean and protect your floors at a modest price, don't just clean it, quick shine it. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners use non-toxic ingredients, making it better for kids, pets, and the environment. With an EPA Safe Choice certification, and Quick Shine has a full line of products to treat any surface, including their floor cleaner, floor finisher, and hardwood floor luster. I use it on my own floors. Made right here in Central Indiana for over 60 years by Holloway House, a family-owned company. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners is available at retailers everywhere.
If you're facing $10,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, there are programs available that can consolidate those debts into one single reduced payment you can afford if you qualify. Accredited Debt Relief is on a mission to help you become debt-free in just 24 to 48 months. They've helped over 300,000 qualified consumers. Hardworking Americans just like you pay off more than $3 billion in debt, earning them an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Accredited Debt Relief will tailor the program to fit your specific budget and financial situation. So call Accredited Debt Relief now for your free no-obligation savings estimate and let them help you take control of your financial destiny.
Call 800-530-3939. 800-530-3939. That's 800-530-3939. 800-530-3939. Program and services not available in all states.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see A Flock of Seagulls. Friday, January 26th at Old National Center. For more info, head to WIBC.com.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for our usual rather short segment at the end of the Gun Guy Show. Just got a couple, 3 minutes here left, but I want to talk about a bill. This is more on the anti-2A side, but it's a more reasonable, it's not reasonable, and I hope it doesn't pass, but it's a more reasonable version of the so-called safe storage bills that we see from time to time. And this is introduced by Democrat Representative Mitch Gore, and it's House Bill 1325. And this one is a safe storage bill. What's an improvement, anyway, on this bill is that it doesn't simply say that if someone leaves a gun unsecured, that is not locked in a safe or otherwise disabled with a trigger lock or otherwise, and they're in a home with a minor, that would be anyone under 18, that they, by definition, immediately are committing a crime. And I talked about this in the context of the better approach, which is, I think the number was 1144, Jim Lucas's bill, that simply offers an incentive to buy gun safes, an incentive to take gun safety training, which generally include things like safe storage, through a tax credit, which is a brilliant idea. It's a bill that Jim's introduced before. I think that's the right way to approach the issue, with a carrot, not a stick. But so many of the safe storage bills we've seen over the years, and that some other states have passed, would, for instance, make me a criminal. If I have a 17-year-old in my house that's a state sporting clay champion, could teach lessons on safe gun handling and marksmanship. But because they're 17 and living under my roof, if I have a handgun on my nightstand, I'm committing a crime under some versions of this bill, including ones we've seen right here in Indiana. Well, Representative Gore's bill is a little different, where it says someone who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally fails to secure a loaded firearm in their residence or vehicle commits neglect of a dependent if the dependent actually gets a hold of that and uses it. Now, that they would require it to use it to cause bodily injury. Little different, still not acceptable. We'll talk a lot more about this as we progress through the legislative session. That's it for this week's Gun Guy Show. Hope you enjoyed it. You hope come back. This is Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8